As a child, I was obsessed with Greek mythology. I researched a bunch about it, I read the Percy Jackson books, I even watched the Percy Jackson movies, which disappointed me so much, but I have not read a book since. I also had a PS2 and loved action games, so when I found out about God of War, I didn't play it. I honestly don't know why, I just didn't get round to it. What I did play was the 2018 reboot, and if I could sum it up in one sentence, it would be, look, I really enjoyed the game a lot, but can we stop pretending it's a 10 out of 10 perfect game and we should all be worshipping at the feet of Cory Barlog? In fact, people love this game so much that they're calling the originals dumb, with repetitive mindless combat and a one-dimensional character, with gore and tits being the only selling point. Now, is any of this true? Well, let's take a look as I play the first God of War game for the first time on this rage-fueled episode of No-stalgia. I've never played a hack and slash, but I was willing to give this game a chance, regardless of its quality or how aged it might seem. What I didn't expect though, was how I was hooked just from the first cutscene.
The gods of Olympus have abandoned me. Now there is no hope.
I've not even started playing this game, and already I'm asking myself questions. Who is this guy? Why is he committing suicide? Why is he white? Like, more white than an albino in a snowstorm. All of this is explored as the game takes you back a few weeks. You start off on a boat, and straight away the game is throwing enemies at you, giving you enough time to experiment with the controls. This opening is an excellent showcase of just how grand the scope is for this game. Straight away you're fighting this huge Hydra, and every time you fight him is more challenging. All leading up to your final confrontation in the first chapter, where he is just going for you and he's so big and I'm having so much fun. Yes, 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 come here, come here, come here, and fuck you.
God of War is fucking rad.
God of War is excellent at making you feel like a badass, with blood and gore everywhere, and some absolutely brutal death animations, and these larger than life bosses. It looks so flashy swinging the blades around, pulling off some epic combos. All of this is just eye candy though, if there isn't strong enough gameplay mechanics to hold it up. So, is the combat fun? Well, it honestly depends on what difficulty you play it on. Now, I played it on hard, which was the perfect balance of difficulty for me, being challenging enough for me to try out all the mechanics to their fullest, but not difficult enough to make me angry, for the most part.
Ares!
You perform a mix of light and heavy attacks, being able to roll, block, and grab. These can be chained together to pull off some awesome moves, with orbs being dropped from enemies, letting you unlock even more combos. Just gotta spend your orbs to do it. You actually get more orbs the higher your combos are, so there is an incentive to create as big of a combo as possible, pushing the player to improve. On easy difficulty though, you can just square triangle your way through the whole game, which isn't as satisfying to pull off. What also isn't satisfying to pull off is the large number of Quicktime Events. They can be exciting though, I feel like it's actually important which button prompts are in QTEs. See, the circle button is to grab, so when I'm grabbing a Hydra and pulling it towards me, it feels satisfying. But when you're stabbing a Cyclops, for example, it doesn't feel very satisfying. How I'd have done it is make the buttons correlate with what you're doing. Instead of turning the stick to pull a Gorgon head off, maybe you end up spinning them around instead. I think this would make it more engaging. As fun as the combat is, I wish I was encouraged to use different tactics. All the enemies are diverse, with aesthetically strong designs. My issue is that they can all be taken out the same way. Now, if different enemies were weak to certain combos, there'd be a certain rhythm to the game that I would just adore. This would add a higher complexity and skill ceiling to the game, without just doing the lazy thing of just doubling enemy health. Your health can be increased by collecting Gorgon Eyes, with feathers increasing your magic. You've got magic abilities as well as an alternate weapon to help you on your journey. The Sword of Artemis is powerful, but it's just not the Blades of Chaos. It has way less reach and way fewer combos, making it something that I just never use. The magic abilities would be exciting if you didn't get the best one first. Poseidon's Rage is great for crowd control and racking up combos, but there was literally no time I wanted to switch to anything else apart from maybe Army of Hades. Just like the combos, I wish these were more situational, so I had more incentive to use them, and it would have been cool to see them incorporated more into Kratos' moveset, rather than just feeling a separate thing and a get out of jail free card. When not in combat, the other time is spent platforming or solving puzzles. Platforming is way too basic to feel interesting, yet it's throughout the entire game. It's not bad in any way, it's just pretty serviceable, other than when it's mixed in with combat. Walking on planks is probably the only time I despised the platforming, especially this part. Oh, why don't I try easy mode? Yes, because falling to my death instantly is going to be so much easier on a lower difficulty, you bloody bold bastard. I get the same frustration with the puzzles. Like, the timing for this is so bloody strict, and it doesn't make a difference what difficulty you're on. It ain't going to be any easier. For the rest of the puzzles, they're just okay. Turn a lever here, push a block there. It's all trivial stuff, but nothing really stuck out to me. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad puzzles and platforming are in the game, as it does break up the combat. However, I would like to see it expanded more on future titles. These elements contribute to the idea that Kratos is on a grand adventure. The world you travel through is linear, yet it feels so vast. The environments are built in a way that you're often looping back around to previous locations, making these areas seem more dynamic. Instead of you being in self-contained levels like in most games, God of War doesn't cut away to any loading screens, as you seamlessly travel through the gates of Athens, to the city, to the temple, to the sewers, all the way to Pandora's temple, without taking control away from the player. This, more than anything, is what immerses me the most when I'm playing out this mythological tale. The story of God of War is fairly simple. Kratos has to travel to get Pandora's box from Pandora's temple in order to defeat Ares, but it's in the way that the game plays with its mythological backdrop that makes it more interesting. Searching for sirens, scaling a titan, travelling through the underworld, all with little reveals along the way related to Kratos' backstory. He's a deeply flawed character. Instead of being content with his family, he's someone that craved more and more power, becoming more and more violent.
How much is enough, Kratos? When will it end?
To the point that he murdered his entire family without even realising it.
My wife, my child, how?
The only thing that makes you sympathise with him is seeing how much remorse and regret he has.
By the gods, what have I become?
Even though he's taking out all of his aggression on Ares, the person he hates more than anyone else is himself. All he wants to do is move on and forget all the pain.
Athena, rid me of the memories that haunt me still.
But like when we've done bad things in our own life, you can never truly forget what you've done.
No man, no god could ever forget the terrible deeds you have done.
The final confrontation against Ares from a thematic standpoint is climactic as hell. Kratos opens Pandora's box. He's fighting Ares, now towering over Athens. After getting through this, you're sent to a nightmare sequence where you have to defend your family from evil versions of Kratos, but the only way to heal them is by giving them a squeeze. You then lose your blades, having to use that big ass sword that you walked over earlier in the game, leading to the most epic kill line ever.
I was trying to make you a great warrior.
You succeeded.
Now from a gameplay standpoint, I fucking hated this boss. The first phase is okay, but the second phase is awful. Whether that's due to being stunned, struggling to move, or the fact you have to defend Kratos' family. They have their own health bar and they won't stop dying. You know what? You're not worth the effort. I'm glad you're dead. Hope you stay that way. I've bested games like Bloodborne, but this section made me want to jump off the nearest cliff. The third phase is somehow even worse. It's set up like a stupid tug-of-war match, so I could get really close to winning, and all of a sudden, sorry, you couldn't avoid this, impossible to avoid attack, sorry, I guess you're dead now. Not only did this nearly cost me a controller, but it crashed twice, meaning I had to do the first 2 phases all over again. But it's fine, he's dead now, I can move on, I'm done with the game.
No. No, I don't think I will.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really good. It has issues, sure, but for a first attempt, I think they did a great job. It deserves a lot more credit than it gets for sure. Kratos definitely deserves his status as a gaming icon. I'm looking forward to playing the rest of the series. I hope to see more refined mechanics and more bosses in the future. You should definitely try this game, as not only is it a perfect entry point for the series, but also for the hack and slash genre in general. I'm definitely a fan now, and I look forward to trying series like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta in the future. Thank you for listening to me ramble. I'm sorry this video is a bit late, as I do have a full-time job, so it's hard to find the time. But if you like this video, maybe you'll like my video on another PlayStation 2 classic, Sly Cooper. Or if you wanted something a little bit more violent, I've also done videos on Doom and Silent Hill. You enjoy the rest of your day. As for me, I'm gonna go now and keep searching for the gold in the old.
Nothing on earth could rid him of the horrors that plagued his mind.
Athena!